Today, we are going to talk about some easy selling location in Phoenix, Arizona market. And we are going to talk also about the difference between demand and supply in today's market. Welcome everyone back to my channel today. Here is another episode. We are going to talk about the real estate market update, and from those information, we're gonna draw some conclusion to help making an informed decision about which area you should invest in. All right, let's go straight into the information. In front of you right here is the number of active listing weekly counts. Okay, each dot is the number of active listing for the Phoenix market area. As you see here, the very first week of 2024, we have about 13,872 active listing. Now, this is including the listing that has been on the market as well as the new listing that getting onto the market. Okay, so the difference between the active listing and the new listing is that the new listing is brand new. It's never come to the market before. Okay, and as of the fourth week of January 2024, the total active listing of 14,602. So as there's a couple of things that we recognize here. Number one, the number of active listing has been increased. And maybe some of you, some of the audience, when they just turn off the live stream, and they're going to say, oh my goodness, there's a lot of active listing number on, therefore is gonna be the price gonna be dropping, because as you know, a lot of people know that when the number of supply goes up, right, the price has to go down. Okay, but let's go a little bit deeper to see whether it is actually the case. First of all, this one right here is actually 5.26% increase from the beginning of the year. All right. Secondly, the notice that you can see is that, as you see this line right here, this is the number of 2023. So while the number still increase, it's actually lower than the number of 2023 year, the year 2023. All right. So that's number two. So according to this trend, I actually gonna have a real quick poll to see, what do you think? Do you think that the number of supply going to continue going up, or the number of supply going to continue going down for the next couple months, couple weeks? If you can, to draw the comment in the put your answer in the comment, up or down. The number of active listing, is it up or is it down? Okay, and we're gonna see whether we have it correctly well, within a couple of weeks or not. Okay, all right. Now, that is it for the supply, okay? So 5.26% supply increase from the beginning of the year. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into the data. The second chart that I'm going to show you is the number of listing under contract, okay? The number of listing under contract at the beginning of the year, it is 4,860. As of the fourth week of January is 6,824. So if you look at the difference, it's actually 40.41% increase. Excuse me, 40.41% increase. So obviously you can see right away that even though the active listing has been increased 5.26%, right? The number of under contract, which showed the demand of the market, is actually increased at a much higher rate, 40%. And one of the reasons is that because of the interest rate drop around Christmas time, that boosts a lot of demand on the market. Now, you may also ask, so why is the active listing increased? Remember, there's a number of homeowners in today's market cannot sell simply because they have so much low interest rate and they cannot get past the situation that they have to pay a higher interest rate and give up the current low interest rate, right? So they don't want to sell. So when the interest rate goes down, it also make them feel a little bit more comfortable, even though it is not much different, right? It's still a little bit more comfortable to give up on the lower interest rate. And that's the reason why it has 5% increase from the beginning of the year. Um, that's my theory, by the way. Not sure the reason why, but that is also one of my theory. And obviously, the number of demand also increased because of that reason. And 40%, 40.41% increase is the result of the low interest rate back in December, back in Christmas of last year. So the same question I'm going to ask for you also is, what do you think? Is it continue going up, or is it continue going down for the number of demand, for the number of listing under contract? Is it going up, or is it going down? So if you just type in your answer in the comments below, we will be watching to see whether you are right or not in a couple weeks. Okay. All right. Next, we are going to talk about some of the hot areas to sell your house right now. Now, to be able to give you that information, let's look at the contract ratio heat map. Again, also, by the way, all the data that I provided here to you is from Comfort Associate. They are the #1 real estate data company for Arizona market. They have a really good data, most up to date data, because most of the real estate data in the internet, they actually reported very old data. Sometimes they reported the last quarter data, and it's not even relevant anymore. Comfort Associates have a great resource for you to get the most recent data in the Arizona market. Okay, and I'm more than happy to share with you that information. All right, to be able to talk about which area is actually selling the fastest. Okay, we're actually gonna look at the heat map for the area. Okay, what is the the contract ratio? Contract ratio is the ratio between the number under contract versus the number of active listing. Okay, in an area, in a zip code. Right now, we look at a zip code map right here. Okay, the higher the contract ratio, the harder. And in here, you see the heat map. Okay, whatever greatest area is going to be really, really hot, insane, frantic, unbelievable, and what the freak, right? It's super hot here. And then as it gets lower and lower, it gets colder and colder. Colder means the seller doesn't have much advantages. Hotter means the seller has a lot of advantages. Okay. Now, to be able to see the changes, to be able to appreciate, so that we can appreciate what the current value is, we have to look at how the heat map changed since December of last year. So this one in front of you right here is the heat map in December 30th. Okay. Obviously, you see the majority of the map is the green. So it's not a very hot, but it's not a very cold. It's a balanced market, as we reported a couple of weeks ago, right? It's a balanced market throughout the county. Now, obviously, you see there's some hot area like Tolleson here, like a Lavine area here, like a South Phoenix here, Mesa here, Chandler and Gilbert, right? Some zip code is very hot, even in the slow season during Christmas. Let's throw out and let's go through a couple of slides, and we're gonna see the change. The next is the beginning of the year, January 16th. It's very similar, although there's some minor change, right? There's some change here in this area, but overall, I would say it's the same. It doesn't have much difference, okay? Now we are getting toward the second week of January. We see more red area. What that means, and Chandler Gilbert is more expanding more hot area right here as well. Buckeye become a hot market back then, January 13th. We continue. You see even more hot the area, like Chandler, even harder. Right now is about 100 to 200 range already. Laveen is 60 to 80. This part of Glendale is 60 to 80. This part right here, north of Glendale and Peoria, is 60 to 80. This part also increased. This may have become 100 and 200. So that is the third week of January. Now we are right now at the fourth week of January. We see that even more hot area over here. So overall, as you see, let me throw out again. Let me throw through it again. You're gonna see, appreciate how the color changed to become more yellow and more red in the Phoenix Maricopa County area. So obviously you can see that they're actually more and more area getting harder and harder, and it's the seller in those areas is actually super easy to sell. They don't have to negotiate a lot with the buyers if the house is reasonable, and if it has a good price, it's gonna be sold. Okay. The other thing that I want to recognize, emphasize to you is that most of the area that hot is beside Chandler and Gilbert, of course. Most of the area that is hot right now is actually in the area that have a lot of new build community. For example, here, this part of 202 here has a lot of new build community. This part is Levine, right? With the development of the 202 introduced 2 years ago, it's helped the area grow a lot, right? The whole area here has a lot of new build within the 400, 450 price range. Very reasonable compared to Chandler and Gilbert. It is a little bit more pricey. And with the 202 here, easy access to Chandler, that is the reason why it become harder and harder here. The other area, as you see, Buckeye is also a new area. This part, Litchfield Park and Glendale area here is also a new build area, as you see over here as well. Along the 101, also there's a lot of new build construction development activities over here. So that helps with the housing market in that area too. Now, one of the reasons why the new build community is more attractive, of course, in addition to the newest, the new of the house, right? They also provide a lot of concession incentive for the buyer to have a super low interest rate and support for the closing costs as well. So that's the reason why it helps for the new build community. Okay, now we're gonna go next to from the haunted area. There's nothing frantic, unbelievable, and what these one happening during the COVID time frame, 2021 and 2022. I'm sorry, 2020 and 2021, but it's not happening right now. Okay, 200 and 400 is the hardest in Mesa right here. Okay. And then we look at 100 and 200, again, Chandler and Gilbert, Tolleson, where there's a lot of good year here, where there's a lot of activities, development activities here. This one is right across State Farm Stadium, so it doesn't make any surprise if they are in the hot, fancy area. If we go to a little bit hotter, we again talking about Levine, south of Chandler, north of Glendale, a little bit part of South Phoenix right here. Okay, if you hot, there's even more throughout the county. Okay, overall, we see that the contract ratio has the rate is increasing. Okay, increasing. Now, one thing to notice, okay? So if you're looking to sell, obviously, the seller is gonna get harder and harder, and you're gonna be easier to sell in this market, okay? So, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to ask for crazily amount of money for a very bad house. Obviously, you see, we are still at a very low level compared to last year, right? Or even the year before, 2022. So that is not the same market that you remember in 2022 and 2021, right? Even though you have a little bit power, but it's not as high as 2022 and 2021. The other thing that you have to realize is that this is the normal trend of Arizona market right now. Okay, normally it's going to be getting harder and harder toward April, as you see here, all the year toward March and April, and it's going to be slowing down toward the other half of the year. So the seller, let's talk about some of the um, um, strategy for the investor buyers and investor seller. Investor buyer, perhaps this is the time that you should a little bit take pull back and wait for a slower time of the year. Okay. Well, I mean, if you obviously not, it doesn't mean that you have to stop buying completely. I'm sure that in all the market there is always a good deal. What I mean by is that when I say stop, that means slow down in the making the decision. Make sure that you run the number correctly, carefully evaluate the deal so that we identify the diamond in the sand, right? Rather than rushing into right now, because you're gonna see the market already good for the seller a lot. So you don't want to be in that situation in which you have to competing with other buyers on the market. Some of the suggestion, if you're still interested right now, maybe looking at some properties that is older on the market, or maybe some property that the owner provides sellers a financing option so that you have a lower interest rate and potentially making a good investment there. Okay, for the investor seller, this is the time for you to sell. This is the time for you to sell. I'm going to repeat. This is the time for you to sell. Because if you wait until March and April, it's going to be in the slower trend. Okay. So it's going to lose negotiation power. I know some of you may be timing like right at, let's say, April 9 to be able to get a little bit better. But this is still the best time for you to start thinking about selling. If you're thinking about selling in this year, this is definitely the time for you to start the conversation. Okay, because the normal time you're not gonna list it yes tomorrow. You have to take time to prepare for the property, especially if you have tenants in place. Okay, so if you have tenants in place, you have to talk to the tenants, asking for permission to show. You have to respect the privacy as well, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to prepare to show your properties, and therefore, even though it's still not at the peak of the season yet, it's still a good time for you to start a conversation with your real estate agent and discuss about the strategy to sell. Okay, whether you want to sell it off completely, gonna do 1031 on the next house, we'll have to discuss that as well. Or whether you're gonna be doing selling it off completely and doing nothing, or maybe you can consider selling it under seller financing option, right? So there's a lot of things to discuss to see whether it makes sense for you to invest your time and invest your money at this time. But if you're thinking about selling your house within the next couple months, this is the time. Definitely talk to your listing agent right now. And I hope you do call me as well for your second opinion. I know that you might already have someone who you want to work with, but perhaps if you're interested in a second opinion, I'm more than happy to tell you about those as well. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. I hope that I give you good information. And if you like the video, feel free to give me a like. If you want to share the video to someone else, feel free to share that to your family member and make them informed about the real estate market in Arizona. Thank you. Bye-bye.